Welcome. We're going to explore a core mechanic of our global financial system, a mechanism that mathematically guarantees economic disparity and inevitable market crises, the debt cycle. Let's begin with a mind-bending question about how money is actually created when you take out a loan. The core premise of this documentary is simple. The simple act of charging interest fundamentally breaks the math of our economy, making widespread debt and wealth disparity an absolute certainty. When a bank issues a loan, say a mortgage, they create the principal amount out of thin air via ledger entries. But here is the critical point. They do not create the money required to pay the interest on that loan. If the bank creates the principal, but not the interest, then where does the extra money needed for the interest payment actually come from in the economy? To understand this impossible math, let's build a closed microeconomy where we can control all the variables. Imagine a small, isolated island with 10 people and one central bank. The bank loans each person $10 at a 10% interest rate. This means there is exactly $100 of principal in existence, distributed among the people. At the end of the year, each person owes $11, the $10 principal plus $1 in interest. The total debt owed is $110. But remember, there is only $100 in the entire system. It is mathematically impossible for all 10 people to pay back the bank. Now, let's apply this perfect, flawed math to the entire world and see what this missing money compels us to do. In the real world, the sheer scale of the economy hides this mathematical flaw, but it does not remove it. The total amount of debt always exceeds the total amount of money in circulation. Because the overall money supply is smaller than the total debt owed, every person, every company, every government is forced into a zero-sum competition for a shrinking pool of cash. If you want to pay your interest, you must take money from someone else who can now no longer pay theirs. This competition guarantees that some individuals and businesses must go bankrupt so that others can pay their interest. This mechanism, built into the math of interest itself, is the undeniable root of wealth disparity and foreclosures. If the mathematical flaw is so profound, then how has the system avoided total collapse for so long? The temporary fix is a debt spiral. People take out new loans, more principal money, just to cover the interest payments on the old loans. This delays the inevitable, but at a massive cost. Each new loan artificially inflates the total money supply, sustaining the system. However, this process simultaneously expands the total debt faster than the money, creating an enormous, unsustainable debt bubble. A system built on perpetual exponential growth will always hit a wall. Here is the final phase of the cycle. The tipping point is simple. The moment people and institutions can no longer afford to take out new debt to service the old debt, the debt spiral stops turning. The music stops. What we call a recession or depression is simply the mathematical correction. The defaults cascade across the economy, the debt bubble bursts, and the missing interest money finally triggers the inevitable collapse. The banks, as creditors, then reclaim real assets, houses, businesses, land, in exchange for the defaulted imaginary money. This is how the wealth is systematically transferred from the many to the few. So what have we learned about the mechanism that governs our global financial reality? Boom and bust cycles, foreclosures, and massive wealth transfers are not political accidents, but mathematical certainties. They are built directly into the DNA of interest-bearing debt. This leaves us with the ultimate question. Knowing the inevitable consequences, can a modern, functioning economy exist without interest? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.